everyone, and welcome to our live stream. We're delighted you're able to join us today. We are thrilled to be speaking with the absolutely spectacular Michele Ellertson for her international travels and training adventures talk. Very exciting stuff. This woman goes all over the place. And it's because she's just so incredibly talented and just so experienced. People cannot get enough of Michele. So we definitely want to pick her brain about this because I think it is an absolutely helpful thing for all of us to think about as far as how things may be different from region to region or country to country. Very exciting stuff that we're going to be talking about today. If you guys have any questions in particular, always feel free to write those inside of the comments or in the chat. We're always happy to hear from you if you have anything in particular you would like Michele to opine on. But before we start diving in, Michele, where are some of the places that you've traveled to so far in all of your training adventures and all this time that you've been doing dog training?
The biggest one is Australia. I'm privileged enough to go there for my third year. I leave in a couple weeks and spend 3.5 weeks there, kind of touring around and teaching. I just got back from Norway. That was such a powerful experience for me. And then those are the only international places that I've been able to go to and teach because of scheduling and a bunch of other stuff. But even just like, I don't even want to say just in our own country. Our country is so vast and so regional that, even going to just a different region of this country is sometimes very different from what we do here.
Perfect. And I think that's a really impactful thing for people to really kind of sit with for a second is that because the United States is so big, sometimes Americans can just kind of lose track of that. Like, oh yeah, I just jumped from this state to that state and this region to that region. It's like, no, it's actually very big. And there are all these different places that do different things. And that could be a wonderful learning experience for us. So that's some of the things we're going to be diving into today. So the first question that I have for you is when we're talking about nosework in particular, are there any surprises that you've had when traveling, particularly internationally or even just regionally within the United States?
Yeah, I will. So I'm always harping on my students about being cheap with their reinforcement. And by being cheap, I mean, like, I will be doing an exercise where maybe I'm tossing cookies at the dog. I do a lot of that. And I will ask them for some cookies and they'll hand me a pile of dried out something, tiny, tiny pieces of, like, I don't know, something that they've probably kept in their car for the previous 6 months and they've just opened the bag and this is what we're using for treats today. And my dog loves it. Okay. And the dog eats it and that's fine. But the dog doesn't really love it. It doesn't spark excitement because it's normal for that dog. Whereas if I do a swap and I pull out cheese from my refrigerator or my cookie stash, or my dogs, I do a lot of pork loin for my dogs and I cut it up into pieces. And my pieces are fairly generous. I have average sized dogs and they can eat a lot without much downside. And the dogs perk up. So I'm always on my students for this. And I just thought it was a normal thing. People get lazy. People get, a little bit complacent in the ease of grabbing something that is non-perishable out of your car. I get it. I do it too. But then I went to Australia the first time and I did a week in Brisbane and a week in Sydney. And Sydney was my second stop. So I already had a week under my belt in Australia training these dogs and working with these handlers. And I taught similar topics between the two places. And I got to Sydney and I was doing a seminar on, I think it was possession or stickiness, hide stickiness, something like that. And it required me to throw cookies into the box because I was demonstrating the timing of what I would use for the dogs. And I got through half of that seminar and I was taking cookies and they were using just delicious pieces of meat and cheese and they were generously sized for the size of the dog and they were like juicy and the dogs were just working to such an epic level that I actually made a comment out loud at the seminar. I was like, man, you Aussies got it right. Like the reinforcement here is really, really epic. And then this woman comes up and before we have any interaction, she tells me, I can tell right away from her accent that she is American. And she's like, oh, I lived in Boston for an amount of time. I was like, oh wow, small world, like so it's great. I was like, where's your cookies? And she hands me the cookies, and I will shit you not, a handful of dried out tiny crumbs of what. And I just looked at it, and it was all I could do to not be like, Americans. Like this is, after having 2 weeks of just tremendous reinforcement. That was one of the things that will stick with me for, if not ever, for a very long time.
Americans do better.
It's just such a pet peeve of mine with my own students, and I harp on them all the time. But I get it. Like, it's easier. I totally get it. But man, the Aussies set me straight.
That's an amazing little tidbit. And so did you notice that there was a difference as far as how the dogs were going through?
I could not get the dog to work. The dog wanted to chase birds around the arena that we were in.
Yeah, it's just amazing that people just don't really appreciate just how much difference that can make, particularly if you're in a group with other dogs and that dog is like, so here's this dry stuff, but that dog has kangaroo.
Yeah. I think I took somebody else's reward, and I was able to get the dog to work for better cookies. I'm gonna move out of the sun because my computer's having a meltdown about being too hot.
Yeah, no worries. Yes, no frying of your computer. You like your computer.
Yeah, so that was a story that will stay with me forever. And I came back to my students and I was like, guys, you got to do better. Like this is, the Aussies have it all the way.
Exactly. Like, so this is a good thing. So Americans are very competitive, so we can make this into a competition of like, okay,
a reinforcement competition.
Exactly.
Let's see who does it better.
So because they were using different types of reinforcement, did you notice anything different as far as how they were using it, as far as the actually handling mechanics? Because sometimes people will choose certain types of treats because they think it's easier to handle. Were you noticing anything as far as that was concerned, or it didn't matter?
I don't know if they chose what they were using because of this, but I will say that it was an incredible amount easier because there was no crumbles. Mm-hmm. The type of cookies that they chose stayed together when they were thrown. They didn't, like people bring boiled chicken, but it shreds and gets all over the place and leaves little morsels everywhere. And now you've lost the dog for 15 minutes trying to clean up the little morsels. And while that is fine in some circumstances, it's not ideal for trying to get reps in of a particular activity, whatever you're trying to do.
Perfect. So I know that this doesn't seem like, I'm sure there's some people like, really, we're just going to be focusing on this, but it is such it's a really important part of the whole process.
Yeah.
But I think it's also a wonderful little highlight of how there's this difference regionally, and that's something that we can actually take here in the States. We can do better and it can have better results overall. So this is where it's just so exciting that you're kind of jet setting all over the place and more places want to have you, that you're able to experience these kinds of differences and then go back home and be like, okay, look, I've been saying for years that you should be doing something more with your treats. Well, now these Aussies are really kicking your butt. So get in gear.
That was so impactful. And I want to say when I was in Norway as well, their reinforcement was good. Like they were picking things that not only the dog liked, but they loved, and they were motivated about it. It was good.
So is it not only just the type of reinforcement, but how they're reinforcing? Was the way that they reinforce different as far as like, was it a willingness? Like, I am giving you a reward and I'm happy to do so, as opposed to, oh, here's a cookie, go do the thing.
There probably is a little bit more. I'm trying to remember. I would say that probably differs per seminar.
Okay.
More than per region. I don't remember being impacted by the way that they were paying. We in certain seminars talked about different ways to present the cookie and different ways to interact with the dog with the cookie.
Okay.
And of course, when they really want the cookie, all of that is better anyway. So that was more more impactful. It's club by club really about the like attitude we have about the work and not always appreciating what the dog has just done and only worrying about what the dog has yet to do. That's an attitude that differs per club.
So can you talk about that a little bit as far as from an instructor standpoint of if you could get everyone on the same page about something about that, what would it be? Like if you're experiencing talking with people and going to all these different places, if there was one thing that you could change as far as their outlook on that, what would the shift be?
I think a lot of where I'm at, even personally right now, is, and I know it's a cliched saying to say, love the dog first and the sport second. And I don't really want to say that, but it's along those lines of like, you've got to appreciate the effort and the talent that our dogs actually have to play this kind of ridiculous game that we have created for them. And if we're not appreciating the work, that's on the cold side. Right? Like if your only interaction, I did a workshop just a couple weekends ago in North Carolina about transactional relationships and how a lot of us have relationships with our dogs through transactions. We ask the dog for a thing in order to get a thing, and that's just a very cold kind of exchange. And while we love our dogs, what is the relationship with that dog like? Do you have one without your reinforcers? Do you have one without asking for anything in return? Can you just interact with your dog? And I started the whole seminar with, I call it the puppy parade. And it was just really come in one at a time and play with your dog for 2 minutes without transactions, without asking for anything from the dog. Can you just have an interaction with your dog that is genuine between the two of you? You can use your toys, you can use your food, but you're not allowed to ask for behaviors in order to earn it. Can you just have engagement? And it was hard. It was really, really hard for people to not ask for a thing to get a thing. And then the thing that they're getting, and the thing that we have to remember in nose work, is that oftentimes the dogs make it look very easy. And it's not very easy. There is nothing about this game that is very easy. I think it's enriching, and I think it's they enjoy the work. The dogs enjoy the work, but it is not very easy, even if they seem like it is. And to unemotionally hand the dog a tiny crumb of a cookie and tell them to, okay, that one's done, go do it again. It feels so lacking of genuine appreciation and genuine astonishment. I am astonished every single time my dog is able to solve a problem. I'm generally standing there with a like grin on my face because it's just so fascinating to watch them do the thing, right? My puppy is not an easy puppy. I can't call it. Well, she's 17 months, but she's not an easy puppy, and every single thing that we do together requires me to really think about how I'm presenting it, why I'm presenting it, what is the point, how am I going to reinforce, and all of that. And she's taught me more than my unicorn of a older dog has, because the relationship was cultivated. She did not like me when we start. Like she did not like me. And that's a very interesting place to be with a puppy.
Right.
where you're at odds with one another, you know?
Yes. And
So
I think
had
that
to,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so I had to build that, and only now can we start cultivating the relationship that I built with her into some kind of do a thing to get a thing. But the thing that she gets is relationship focused. It's way more than just a cookie.
Right. And I think that that's really impactful for people to take in, because while I think that there are more people who are in that position with their dogs than we may want to recognize, or at the very least, they're butting heads constantly. And the relationship has suffered so much, but there's somewhere for it to go. Like it could actually improve, it could deepen, they could be more on the same wavelength. And doing some of the things that you're talking about, I think, are really helpful and impactful. The idea most people, I think, would balk at, I'm sorry, you wanted me to walk into a room of a seminar full of other people and dogs and act a fool with my dog where we're not actually doing something, that I'm showing off how brilliant we are, that we're just being silly together. Oh my God, where is the paper bag I can put over my head so I can crawl up a little ball and die?
I was so proud of that seminar, of those seminar participants. They were completely uncomfortable and did it, and they tried, and they put some effort out, and they were vulnerable. And are you trying to be on camera? Can you move over? Thank you. She's like, you're not looking at anybody but me. Okay. Yeah, so it's been interesting.
Yes.
Like I have pictures of me I have videos of me playing with Praline as a puppy, and I would do one thing during play that she did not like, and she would drop the toy and bite me, like attack me. And that's that's a lot. That's coming from a place of, she's trying to communicate. She doesn't have communication skills. There's just, teaching the dogs to search is so easy. Really. They want to do it. They know how to do it. If you have reasonable reinforcement for the dog and any kind of motivation in the animal, it's very easy to get a dog to hunt. It is very difficult to teach an animal who has poor communication skills good communication skills. It is very difficult to teach to do a behavior mod. It is very difficult. It takes a long time, and it takes a lot of patience. And the minute you start slacking off on it, we regress, right? Like it's all of that stuff is so very, very difficult. And I love talking about searching, and I love talking about detection, and I love talking about all of it. But I really wish the nosework community would embrace other forms of training in addition to the detection stuff.
Yes.
Like I do Mondio ring. Mondio ring is my hobby. I don't make money at it. It's not my job. I don't, do anything else but support my club. And that training, what we do in protection sports, has taught me so much about drive, about harnessing drive, about arousal and different arousal states, and what we want and what we maybe don't want for different kinds of work. It's taught me about reinforcement systems. It's taught me about incremental reinforcement. It's taught me so much. And there's so many correlations. It's taught me about building a strong dog. In nosework, we want to build a strong dog, just in a different way. But it's all the same stuff. And I think I really wish we would embrace all of the training in terms of it helping our nosework training. I went off on a tangent. I'm so sorry. Okay, we can get back to adventures in training.
No, this is very important. So I actually want to stay there.
Okay.
Is that so? Even in your travels, so are you noticing that there are certain people who are just having the nosework blinders on? This is all I live and breathe. And are
Yes.
you noticing other people are more dabbling or they are focused on other things as well? And are you noticing a difference in those teams?
Um, it is speckled across the groups, but I can tell in any seminar who is embracing training, learning theory, learning concepts, even on a very 30,000 foot level. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to, dive in, but hey, I take a I take a functional obedience class once a week, and I'm not really planning on competing in obedience, but it's good training for my dog. Praline will probably never step foot on a Mondio ring field, but the training is good for her. It's teaching her
Mhm.
communication. It's teaching her about her relationship with me. It's teaching her about her communication skills. Hey, you don't have to bite me. You can just stop.
Right.
You can just stop. You can just opt out, and that's cool too. Um,
Hmm.
the whole theory behind opt out stations and voluntary sharing and all of this, like, really, really freaking cool stuff that people are doing and talking about in the training world can help you in your nosework training. I know it's not a direct line, and I know a lot of times we want to be spoon fed exactly how is this going to help me, and I can appreciate that. I make my living on that, right? Like, this is, I live on that. But I would encourage everyone internationally to step out of your comfort zone, go take a class in something that you've never taken a class in before. Find an instructor that you really like and take anything with them. I have a personal pet peeve about people who teach nosework who are also not doing any other kind of uh, continuing education on their ability to read and understand dogs.
Hmm.
That's important for us as instructors because we can't help if we can't understand what the dog is doing or saying or communicating with us. where
Absolutely.
where are they confused? How are they confused? How can we break down the idea to be clearer? How can we do that for them?
And I think that this is also a very helpful thing for everyone, instructors, handlers, anyone who's involved, is not only could you potentially be broadening the skill set for the dog, you're broadening the skill set for you.
Yes.
And you're seeing things from potentially a different vantage point. Where
Yes.
if you've been doing nose work for a very long time or any amount of time, you may be looking at it from one particular point of view. But then
Mhm.
if you're doing some other type of activities, all of a sudden you're able to see that from a different vantage point, like, oh, that's why that's doing what it's doing. Oh, my dog was refusing a jump in agility, or my dog was refusing to do a sit.
Mhm.
And then I realized that the correlation was a noise or pressure from me, or they were confused or whatever. Oh,
Mhm.
my dog is asking me questions. My dog is refusing to go across the start line because they're worried about the cones,
Mhm.
whatever.
Right.
But able to see it in those different contexts is able to spark off an idea in you that if you were only looking at it in nosework, you may not have been able to see it because you're so focused on the thing and you
Right.
aren't able to see it in those other contexts. So listen to Michelle and do all the things.
I mean, it doesn't have to, you don't have to spend a ton of money, buy a
Right.
trick, buy a book on free shaping, there's lots of audit opportunities on all kinds of classes that are relatively inexpensive and you can work through them at your own pace and, you know, uh, teach your dog a new trick.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
even the puppy parade that you were talking about, that can be a big thing for people to just figure out how to do that within the comfort of their own home.
right, right.
Like, that could be a huge thing. They could spend weeks just trying to figure out how to do
Yeah.
that
And
and then
like
take that on the
be
road.
be curious about it. I playing with the dog is about trying things and not being afraid that the dog isn't going to like it, but let the
Mhm.
dog not like it and then alter what you're doing and see what the dog does like and show the dog that, hey, I'm capable of listening. I'm capable of hearing what you're saying. And
Right.
that's the same, I think, all over.
Absolutely. And that's also a very important thing that you just noted is sometimes experimenting so that you can see what does the dog look like when they don't like it. So you can actually, again, see that in that context. And if in other contexts, like, oh, my dog is looking exactly the same they did when I did the thing that they didn't like. They don't like what's happening here. Could I maybe change something so that they do enjoy what's going on?
Right.
Guys, this is freaking gold and it's all free. So another question I had for you is, are there any new tools or approaches that you personally have picked up in your travels, again, either domestically or internationally?
I've always tried really hard to embrace to learn about and to embrace systems that maybe I don't use or maybe that I don't reach for regularly. And one of the things that the Norway trip really taught me was how tremendously powerful marker systems can be, both for the good and for creating some stuff that we really don't want. I always knew that. And it's one of the reasons why I don't teach a marker system unless I have to for some reason. The handler is handicapped and can't get in on time, or the dog needs additional clarity that a couple of markers will help them with, something like that. But in Norway, the vast majority of the people there utilize marker systems. And I want to say, again, the vast majority of the dogs there are very demonstrative with the vessels. And that's every once in a while here, I'll get a dog who will pull a tin, crunch a tin, throw a tin at the handler, and do all of that kind of stuff. But it was much more prevalent there, like to the point where my lovely, lovely host, oh my gosh, she was so amazing, gave me her kit so I could make some hides up. And there was one whole cavity of the kit that were slider tins, but the slider tins were just mangled. I mean, it looked like shrapnel in there. And I was kind of looking at it. I was like, that's unusual. I once in a while I'll get a dog who will really destroy a tin like that, and I pry the magnet out of it, and then I toss the tin.
Right.
There were a number of them, and it didn't make sense to me as to why until I started watching the dogs, and I was like, oh, this is a thing that we have. And I didn't say anything about it because uh I was just learning their systems, and kind of if it doesn't bother them, then it doesn't bother me.
Mhm.
And somebody along the way, the dog did it, took the tin and threw, I think he took it and threw it at her. And she was like, well, he always does that. I was like, oh, well, do you not want him to do that? And she said, no. And everybody said, no, we don't want them to do that. And I said, well, I mean, we have to understand that for some of these dogs, they're doing it because you're marking the moment that they're putting their mouth on the tin. Like, that marker comes when
Mhm.
their mouth opens and closes on the tin. So, the dogs think that that's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And so we talked a lot about appropriate markers and the concept that you don't need a marker to have a payment point. And we did a lot of cookie throwing and a lot of ball tossing and a lot of toy play and a lot of stuff like that to fix it. But that was um, kind of, it was so widespread there that
Mhm.
I was like, this is a product of a system. And I'm not saying that the marker system will cause that, but something in the system that they were utilizing was communicating this, because you might get one dog doing it out of, oral fixation or something. You're not going to get 12.
Right.
And so it was very interesting for me to watch and to observe the marker timing and stuff. I will say that when I go abroad, I'm with the groups of people for a longer period of time. Like in Norway, I did 5 seminars, and it was a lot of duplicate people, like the people took every day. And so I had the opportunity to kind of sit back and observe at first and then work on developing small tweaks to the system to see if we could, build skills, but also fade behaviors that we didn't love.
Hmm.
And when I work stateside, I often just get 1 or 2 days.
Right.
So I'm not able to do the same amount of observation.
And I think that's all a really important insight for everyone, that a lot of the things that we do are indeed so powerful and impactful to the dogs. And it's all
Mhm,
how they are interpreting what it is that we're trying to do.
mhm,
And when you're able to go to different regions and different areas, because you aren't potentially, or whomever is not, neck deep in whatever that is, you're getting an outside perspective. It may be easier for you to be able to say, like, oh, that's interesting. Whatever it is that's happening, the dog is interpreting it this way, even though you meant 1, 2, or 3.
mhm,
And that could be a really helpful thing for all of us. And that's again why the video review services that lots of trainers are now offering can be so
mhm,
helpful, even if you're working with an instructor right now, of
for
getting
sure.
another pair of eyes on something to say, oh, well, your dog is thinking that you want my teeth to be on this thing and you want me to be very extravagant with it and then throw it at you.
Mhm.
And that may not be what they wanted at all. And marker systems are incredibly powerful. I can remember when I was playing around with clicker training with my first Doberman, and I was trying to capture him backing up, and because my timing was what it wasn't that great. Instead, I captured a march in place. Like, okay, well, that's not what I was looking for. It
That's
was
also
adorable.
adorable, but
It's
yes.
absolutely adorable. But I mean, and then for him, he was so precise that he thought I need to march in place. I need to put one ear up, one ear down. I need to lick my lips. Like, it was ridiculous how precise he was. And it's because the marker system is so incredibly powerful.
My
And
my my
go
very
ahead.
first clicker trained dog had something very similar. I was trying to train very first dog. Like I did not know what I was doing. I did not know that I was going to have a career doing it, certainly. And I was clicker training a down. And somehow, because of my certainly impeccable timing, I trained her when I said down, she would hit the floor. She'd pop up to a sit, she'd bark 3 times and hit the floor again.
Yes.
Every single time.
Yes.
I had trained a behavior chain.
Yes.
I did not know that I did that, but I had
Yes.
trained a behavior chain.
And I think that this is such an important thing for people to keep in mind, is that a lot of these things, our dogs are, they're so willing to do the thing. And some of the things that we may be trying to use, like the marker systems, are so powerful and make so much sense to the dog. But if we aren't careful with how we're doing it,
Yeah.
we think we're marking one thing, but the dog is like, no, you meant for me to do all these things, like
Yeah.
popping down into a down and then getting up
Yep.
into a sit and barking at you 3 times. I love it. So good. So, the next question I have for you is, in all your travels, again, either throughout the United States or internationally, what are some of your most exciting or inspirational moments that you've enjoyed?
I love seeing the same groups again. So my schedule books up like obscenely early, and I haven't taken new I always give clubs that I've been to before a little bit of a priority
Mhm.
in if you want to have me back, because I love coming and dropping some information and letting people kind of mull it over, and then seeing them again in a year after they've worked the system a little bit, or they've taken a couple extra webinars, or they've done the Patreon a little bit with me, or whatever the case may be. um and then I get my hands on them, and now I can adjust their handling, and now I can adjust the leash mechanics, and now because we have common language and we have the ability to uh, kind of be on the same page with a lot of stuff. The first time that I see a group often is like there's some foundational pieces that are missing that we have to fill in before we do anything else. I'm doing a seminar on I did one in North Carolina. I'm doing it again, I think in Maryland, about building skills for Elite and Summit. And it's hard to do that one because so many of the things that I see that would build great skills come all the way back to the foundation work that we should be doing in the first place. Like it comes back to the transactional relationship idea. It comes back to marker systems and how we're using them. It comes back to the dog's value of odor and their confidence in different and new spaces. Those are the building skills for Elite and Summit, right? Like it's not the sexy stuff. We got to fix that first. And then once we have that, we can investigate, elevation. We can investigate deep hides. We can investigate combinations of those things. But before we have the dog who is strong and feels strong and knows that they're strong, we can't do any of that. So I really like the times, like even going to Australia the third time, I'm very excited to see. I know I'm going to see a lot of familiar faces. I know that they've been doing great work over there. I know that they're I would say about 10 years behind us in terms of where their like knowledge is on what, like they run into things in Norway too, I guess. But they're running into things that like, oh yeah, we hit that bump too, right? And it's kind of all in, and nobody's interested in reinventing the wheel. So, everybody's kind of eager to find out, well, how did, what ways worked in getting over this hump, whether it's in the admin of the competitive levels or in the actual training of the dog. So I'm excited to see them again, to see where they're at now.
That's awesome. And for any of the international clients that you've had for the seminars, are they also involved with your Patreon, or they also work with you virtually, or you've primarily seen them when you're able to travel?
People come and go out of the Patreon. The Patreon is a big time investment. So, and it's a, you can cancel it at any time kind of thing. But so they've been in it. I think I have 2 New Zealanders in it now and Norwegian. And I think everybody else is stateside. I think so. But they've certainly been in and out. Like a number of the Aussies have been in and out. A number of the New Zealand folks have been in and out of the Patreon and other online versions of classes that I've done.
And that's just a wonderful thing that I hope that everyone is able to appreciate is, 15, 20 years ago, like that wasn't possible. It would be great that obviously people have been traveling forever, but the fact that you can now cultivate a kind of learning community that they can continue the learning, they can keep picking your brain about things, and that they can come and go as it fits their schedule and their time commitments and everything else. But that kind of level of support that can be consistent is amazing. And that it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can get your fix of Michele, which is really, really nice. So the other question I had for you is, when you're talking to clients, do you think that traveling could also help them potentially develop as handlers, or for your fellow instructors to help them develop as trainers as well?
I think that seeing and being influenced in a mindful way by many different types of training and types of instruction is critical for being a good instructor yourself. And when I say mindfully, I mean, as an instructor, you have knowledge that is valuable and you have experiences that are valuable. And I think that we need, as instructors, to be open to new creative ideas, I certainly don't train like other people that I know, but I can always learn something from pretty much anybody. And those tiny nuggets that I pick up, I plug into my system, and it makes my system more robust. But I need to be mindful about why I'm doing that and how I'm expecting that nugget to influence my the stuff that I'm doing.
Perfect.
I think that's important for actual like competitors. For trainers, I think that you need to be careful. I think that when you engage in a foundational system, I hate to say it, but there's some risk in jumping from system to system while you're laying the foundation for your dog. And it causes confusion, I think, in some circumstances. So if you start with a system and for some reason decide that you don't like it, then switch. But make a commitment in that switch. Find something that does resonate with you and hang with it. Hang with that instructor, at least while you get your feet under you and while the dog is developing. Then, once you have a strong system of your own and a language with your dog, and the relationship is strong and the dog feels strong, then I think you should go and have people tell you what they think. The thing that I would say, and the caveat that I would give that also, is I am only seeing your dog for, I mean, maybe 6 turns at max in an all-day seminar. I don't know the history of this dog. I don't know the emotional space that this dog lives in. I can tell a lot, but I do not know what that dog is like at home. I don't know that he's afraid of the garbage trucks. And this morning, the garbage trucks came by as you were getting into the car, and now he's having a meltdown. I don't know any of that. And I don't need to, because I, as a seminar presenter, I'm not there to judge the work of your dog. I'm there to look at what you've got and to try to give you things to think about and things to play with and things to get curious about as you proceed on your journey with the dog. And if you like them, great. And if you go, Michele has no idea what she is talking about, and you don't like them, then that is great too, because I am only seeing a snapshot. So if I also say something that maybe came out wrong or hit you in the feels because you've been struggling with this particular thing, I don't know that, and I am not intending to do, and none of us are. We are just there to give you things to think about, things to consider, on your path forward.
Perfect. I think all that's really important. Are there certain questions that you think that people should be mindful of or thinking to themselves when they are going to maybe new regions, even if they're just maybe not going to a specific training seminar, but even if they're going and attending a trial, or if they're just traveling with their family and they happen to, oh, you know what, I'm going to go to a sniff and go or something. Are there certain questions that they should be asking themselves as they're watching things in order to determine, is this a nugget that would be helpful for me, or how they should be evaluating it? Are there certain ways they should be approaching it so it can be, they can indeed be mindful?
I mean, it's kind of a it's a difficult question, because when I go to a seminar from somebody, I will try on whatever they recommend, as long as it's not going to damage my dog in some way. I will not use corrections on my dogs. It's just a line that I draw. So if that's a request, then I will respectfully bow out. But aside from those things, I will try on handling systems, and I will try on leash management systems, and I will try on different versions of how to reinforce, because I don't know how something feels until the shirt's on my back. Like I've got to feel it out a little bit. And then I video everything. And I pay attention. I watch that. And so the second part to that is you've got to video it, and then you've got to sit down and watch it. And I watch it, but I watch it for, what is my dog's reaction to that move that I did? And was I smooth in that move, or was I also confused? And was my confusion causing her confusion? And if that's the case, maybe I need to try it again. Like it's such, I'm doing a webinar in August for Fenzi Dog Sports Academy on handling through feel. And this kind of falls into that place for me, because to be mindful about nuggets that you're taking away from people, it's very much a feel kind of thing. How does it feel? Does it feel like something you can play with a little bit? Does it feel like something that's going to suit your dog or your system in some way? There are things that I have taken and I've tried them on and I've been like, oh, that shirt feels itchy. I don't like that. I don't like the way that feels. And I'll put it on a shelf. And then a year later, I will be like, I'm running into a problem. And I think I have a tool for that here. And I will pull it out and I will put it on again. And all of a sudden, it fits like a glove. Because sometimes when you're at a seminar, you're just not in the right place for that piece of information. But if you can squirrel it away a little bit and go on about your journey, and then remember that you have it tucked away, sometimes the next time you pull it out, it is exactly the right size.
Perfect. You're so good with your metaphors. So I love this.
I've been told that before.
I love this. I love the little jars, putting the skills and working them into a jar and putting them up on a shelf. Oh, they got a little dusty. Bring it down.
Yeah,
Dust
bring
it off.
it down. Try it on.
So when people are attending a seminar, are there certain things that they should be making certain that they understand the why behind a certain piece of information, and how can they do that? Because sometimes people will get stuck in I'm just trying to mimic what the speaker is doing, but they don't actually understand the whys in between.
Oh my God, yes. And I am guilty of it too, because I sometimes get very excited about material and I go very fast in a seminar. I love it. My favorite seminar attendee is the one who will stop me and almost challenge me a little bit. I don't have a cookie, sorry. And almost challenge me a little bit so that I have to stop. I have to think about why I'm asking these people to do this particular thing. And I'm fairly good with my words, so explaining, and I have good command over why I do what I do. But sometimes I can get caught up in the actual exercise and the actual doing of the thing, and I can gloss over the why. I love it when seminar attendees push a little bit on possible downsides to what I'm suggesting, or anything like that. I love it. Love it.
Perfect. So
It tells me that you're listening. It tells
Yes.
me that you're paying attention. It tells me that you're engaged, you're not on your phone. Oh my God, put your phones down. Please, please put your phones down. When I was in Norway, a couple of people were recording the lectures and stuff, and I don't have any rules about that. You can record whatever you want. And it was just surprising to me how many people were doing it. And it turns they were running the lecture through a translator.
Yes.
It's brilliant. That's brilliant. I couldn't figure out how everybody was executing the exercises like perfectly.
Yes.
I was worried about the language barrier. I should not have
been. Look at all these technologically advanced people. They're so smart.
It's so smart. They're so smart.
So I have a few more questions for you. What has been inspiring you when you're training in new circles? So this can be when you're doing other sports, when you're working with different people, when you're in different regions. What are some of the things that are inspiring you personally right now?
When I was writing my 2026 seminar catalog, which I revise it about every 2 years. And the inspiration for the entire catalog was Praline. And she has taught me so much. And I want to share and help other people who are working with a dog who maybe has big opinions or maybe has big feelings. And, how can we get on the same page with them? And how can we be good teammates to them? And how can we get ourselves out of this conflict loop that we get ourselves into when we are training a task for competition? Because we are so focused on the nitpicky stuff that we know counts for points or whatever, no matter what the sport is that you do, that we forget about we forget about the attitude of the dog. We forget about taking care of the attitude of the dog. And that needs to come first. Because you can't pick at anything if the dog feels like crap doing the exercise. Like you need to take care of that. And that is the number one thing that she has taught me, and that Cannoli has taught me. Is the attitude. They have to feel strong. And what is inspiring me right now, I went to, so I qualified for Mondial Ring Nationals in May of last year. Last year? Yeah, last year. And we had 3 months to prepare. And I'm a very diligent trainer. I like training a lot. I train a lot. I work my dogs a lot. And I got hyper focused on the things that my dog did badly. I got hyper focused on, well, our positions, she has trouble with the stand. I gotta work the stand. I've got to work the stand in every situation that I could possibly think of, and every component and everything. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Oh, her healing is shaky. She's pokey. She's not wanting to keep up with me. I got to work healing. I got to work healing more. I've got to figure out my reinforcement for healing. I've got to do all of this. And I am a positive reinforcement trainer. My dog looked like, on that trial field, my dog looked like I had beaten her daily for during training. I've never done anything physical to this dog, but what I did was all emotional, because I just kept picking on the things that she already struggled with, on the things that she already didn't understand. And in my mind, she should understand them.
Right.
But the reality is she did understand them, but she didn't trust herself that she did. And that's attitude, right? So in nose work, when I see people picking about the alert behavior, picking about sourcing when their hides weren't sourceable to begin with, or picking about the stuff that they perceive judges care about, and I see the attitude of the dog deteriorate and deteriorate and deteriorate, and I see the distraction sniffing increase, and I see them avoiding odor, dude, like you've got to take care of that dog. You've got to make that dog feel like they are an incredible detection dog. And then sneak in the stuff that matters, but sneak it in a way that the dog is supported so that they can do it. And before long, they believe they can do it, and that the idea that they can't do it isn't even a thought. So you can sneak more and more advanced kind of concepts in there, and the dog's going to do it because their attitude is pulling them through. Their strength and their belief in themselves are pulling them through. That's the stuff that inspires me.
That's really powerful. And just to pull upon that a little bit, is another part of that equation the handler believing the dog can actually do it, as opposed to coming from a place of they can't?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure. I mean, trust is a two-way street. We say trust the dog all the time. We've got to have the dog trusting us as well. And it's very hard to trust somebody who doesn't believe in you.
So, if you have someone who's in that type of situation where they found themselves in this hole, what are some of the things that you would be suggesting from the handler point of view so they can actually believe the dog can do anything? Are you bringing them back into foundation type things where you're setting up scenarios to get away from the picking and the nagging, and to be like, your dog actually does know quite a bit? And is that at the same time helping the dog, or would there be a different approach that you would take?
It's a psychological shift for the handler.
Right.
So while I can show them that their dog can do hard things, sometimes they don't believe they can do those hard things either.
Right.
And I feel like it's deeper than just working the dog. and showing them that the dog is capable once pressure is removed. It's helping them, and sometimes it's a painful experience, but it's realizing that we are the cause of that pressure and we need to breathe. So there are often times when I will see handlers and I'll see the shoulders start crawling up while the dog is solving a problem. And I will stand right next to them and like, take a breath, take a step back, relax. The dog can do this. And I will just be the voice on their shoulder for the amount of time that they need me to be. In terms of what they need to do themselves, it's an internal, they have to want to change their mindset. And
So-
that is hard to do.
Yes. From an instructor standpoint, because this is a trend that we see all the time, right? It's almost like I hate to call it a rite of passage, but it seems to be a process that everyone goes through in some way or flavor. As an instructor, is there something that you have thought about or that you would encourage your colleagues to think about as far as how we're structuring our training? Is there a piece that we're missing to better support the handlers so that they could have the skills that maybe are missing, so they're not getting into that panic mode of, oh God, oh God, oh God, are they going to be able to do it? Is there something that we can maybe think of implementing in our training programs to better help the handler?
I think that if we can play foundational games in our in-person classes, and I'm talking to mostly in-person instructors, so in my head. So if we can play foundational games and tweak the difficulty of those, so we're building the dog secretly, and we're explaining to the handler doesn't always need to know what we're doing when we're working dogs. Like, we can just do it. And sometimes, so my favorite thing to do in in-person classes is to play games for like 5 weeks. And each game kind of taps on a different thing. And I'll send the handler home with like specific instructions. I need you to do this twice this week and play this specific game because it's building this. And then we will test at the end of that 5 weeks. So on the 6th week, we will do blind searches or whatever. And when the handlers see that utilizing games and Easter egg hunts and box forts and, all of these cookie tosses and, remote payment systems and all these sorts of things. And the dog comes in confident and with the ability to do the thing, that sometimes can be enough to turn a little corner, at least in the handler. And then we can illustrate the dogs did so well with these hides because of these games. If you did nothing but play varieties of these games at home, forget about setting up an NW3 search in your kitchen. Forget about it. Just play games related to odor and make sure the reinforcement system or the reinforcement loop is strong. You will have a firecracker on the end of your leash. But people don't want to do that. So I do it in class. I do it in class. We'll play 5 weeks of games, do a test on the 6th week, and that can show people, Now what will take away the steam there is if they trial somewhere within those 5 weeks and it doesn't go well. Now we're back to square one because the system hasn't had a chance to do its thing.
Right. So I think these are all very important things for people to keep in mind, is that this is all very fluid. It's never, okay, I did the thing. I have a check mark in that box. I'm done. I'm set forever and a day. No, that's not the way it works.
I do training plan sessions with people where I help them build training plans, and the training plans last for 3 weeks. And they go, oh, what do I do at the end of those 3 weeks? I was like, you do it again.
Right.
You do it again.
Brilliant. All right. So as we're starting to wrap up today, I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about some of the things you're going to be doing for us. So we're very excited. We're going to be hosting you in September for your Find It, Own It, Get Paid webinar. This is building off of the possession live stream before us.
Yes. Finally.
So can you talk a little bit about this, please?
Yeah. Possession is an idea that I have also. Chaser in the picture. So possession is an idea that I have that is stemming from protection work. Actually, we use a lot of possession and guarding behaviors in protection work to build drive and motivation. And I thought in the nose work community, I was like, well, I want the same kind of drive and motivation for odor. Why would I not work some of these same games but with an odor component? Like, can I do that? Is that something that's possible? Because nobody else was doing it really. And I did. I played with it. I played with it my own dogs. I always play with stuff with my own dogs before I tell everybody else to do it. And it led into this idea of possession actually being the most honest alert behavior that we can get from the dog. And it's the difference between the dog kind of demanding payment, demanding action, and the dog asking a question about, is this it? Is this close enough? Do I get payment now? It's the difference between those two things. To my eye, a dog who's taking possession of it is honest and is confident and understands clearly how to get his reinforcement loop to begin.
Perfect. And if you guys aren't already following Michele on Facebook, you're missing out, because she's been sharing all kinds of wonderful videos and little tidbits and nuggets and of just brilliance. And one was a little corgi with a tiny little foot stomp. Give me my cookie. It was adorable. So you definitely want to make sure that you're following her on Facebook so you're not missing out on any of that stuff. And we have a link inside the chat for this webinar. Definitely want to make sure you're joining us for that. But we're also welcoming Michele back for a member-only event. She's going to be talking about training passionately versus chasing titles. You want to just give them a little bit of a preview for how this rant is going to go?
Well, yeah. I do not think it is a great idea to trial every weekend. And I do not think it is a great idea to do 8 runs in a day. And I strongly believe that just because they can do it does not mean we should make them do it. And the dogs cannot really, most dogs do not have the ability to opt out for themselves. So we have to make mindful, smart decisions about what we are asking them to do and the quality of the work that we're asking them to do. And every time we ask them to do something and they say, well, I guess I can, but I don't really want to, and they do it with less quality, the overall training goes down. You lose notches every time you do that. So I think training and game playing and setting up searches that illustrate particular things and being intelligent and mindful about how we're setting our hides and doing all of that is great. And we can do that so much, and we should be doing that so much. We should be going to different places and setting hides and having fun and playing box games and all of that stuff. But when you are testing, which for me, a test is anything that's blind. A test is any trial, it's any sniff through, it's any blind searching in class. It's you're not building anything there. You are testing the dog's ability to do the work and your ability to read and handle it. And you need to test, but you need to be really mindful about how and why and when you are testing.
Perfect. So definitely encourage you all, if you aren't already a member, become a member of SWU so we have access to this amazing event where, again, you're going to walk away from like, I'm passionate for training. We're not going to be chasing titles anymore. Passionate for training. That's the goal. So I want to thank you all for joining us for our live stream today. Michele, this was amazing. As always, we're always so wonderfully fortunate anytime you can share your expertise with us. As again, I say this all the time, and I really do mean it. You elevate me as a trainer and as a dog handler, and anytime I can learn from you, I am delighted. And I just want to share with everyone one more link. If you aren't already, again, part of her Patreon, go be part of her Patreon. It's really, really good. But we've been taking up enough of your time. My little terrier is squeaking. He's like, I heard that you were wrapping up and I'm ready to go do some maybe fun, passionate training stuff, lady. So make certain you give some cookies to your puppies for us. Happy training. We look forward to seeing you all soon.